Greetings everyone, DC-MarvelGirl 1997 back with another video, except this time I'll be focusing on the television series The Walking Dead. I just started to binge watch the show. I know, I'm very late on this, given how many years it's been on television. It's been on TV since I was about 12 years old, but between The Last of Us sparking my interest for post-apocalyptic worlds and the fact that we're stuck in the middle of COVID-19, I took a chance on this show about a week ago, and I became sucked into the world of The Walking Dead and the story surrounding Rick Grimes and the people in his life. It's not about the zombies. It's not about the world collapsing. Yes, to a point, those two aspects come together to create a post-apocalyptic world that's very cohesive. But what it's truly about is the characters, the relationships that form, and how these groups of people fight to survive in a world that's decaying. That alone gives me incentive to watch, in that while the environment is decaying, the relationships that Rick forms with the group reminds us that life really does go on. But by far, the character that earned the most respect from me is Shane Walsh. And you're probably wondering why. Because Shane doesn't seem to be a character that's earned any respect from the audience. He told Rick's wife and son that Rick died. He had an affair with Lori and essentially tried replacing Rick's role as a father in Carl's life. His last words to Rick in their final confrontation consist of him berating Rick, telling his friend that he cannot accept that Shane is a better husband and father than Rick ever was because Shane is willing to fight for what he wants. I may not like that Shane did these things, but just because he had an affair with Lori and lied to her about Rick, this doesn't make him a bad guy by any means. In fact, there's a flashback at the end of season 1 which shows Shane had every reason to believe that Rick died in that hospital while he was in his coma. He tried to save Rick during the outbreak, but he couldn't, so he just accepted that Rick was gone and had to deliver the news to Rick's wife and child. Aside from that, there are two significant moments in season 1 which made me develop this respect for Shane's character. The first one was the moment where he witnessed Ed Pelletier physically abusing his wife Carol in front of the other women, and he lashes out at Ed whilst beating his face in, telling Ed that if he catches him putting his hands on any of the women in the group, he will do a lot worse. While this was him taking out his frustrations towards not being able to continue his relationship with Lori and his jealousy for Rick, it showed that Shane doesn't believe in putting his hands on women in an abusive manner, at least when he's being rational and thinking coherently. Because we see in the season 1 finale him drunkenly almost raping Lori, but anyone can behave irrationally if they have too much to drink. That's especially since everyone in that episode was drinking a lot of wine. I'm not saying this excuses his bad behavior, but at least in season 2's premiere, he owns up to what he did and admits to Lori that his actions towards her had been a result of drinking too much. However, the 4th episode in season 1 is truly where I began developing a little more respect for Shane. He and the other members of the group confront their fellow survivor, Jim, who is continuously digging holes and is believed to be suicidal. And when Jim lashes out at him for trying to stop him, Shane ends up getting down on the ground and restraining Jim until he calms down. It goes to show that Shane isn't the type of person to leave someone to kill themselves, unless there's no other alternative to it, such as when he and the others leave Jim to turn into one of the walking upon Jim's request. I fully understand that Shane will become less and less respectable at the start of season 2, as I have yet to watch more of it, and I don't have to like the bad things that he's done, but I'm at least able to understand his actions and why he does what he does. Empathy and sympathy are two different things, and because the writers of the show wanted us to empathize with Shane, All they had to show us were the moments he tried interacting with Carl in a fatherly way, only to be shot down by Lori, and his moments of resentment against Rick, such as when Rick tells him if Lori and Carl were Shane's family, Shane would try with everything he has to go to the CDC to see if a vaccine is being made to cure those infected. Because as we saw in the first couple episodes of the show, Shane truly grew to care about Lori and Carl as a family, loving Carl like his own son and Lori like a wife. And the fact that Rick would try contradicting that and suggesting that Shane was never there for Lori and Carl only increases Shane's bitterness. Shane is by no means a perfect character. He's heavily flawed and clearly has impulse control issues, but this doesn't per se make him a bad guy. Nobody on the show is pure evil unless you count characters like the governor, Negan, or Merle Dixon. They're just victims of terrible circumstances and are simply trying to have a sense of normalcy in a world that's dying. So I can't really blame Shane at all or call him a horrible person because I made more than a few mistakes in my lifetime. Thank you for watching. If you're brand new, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, be sure to like and comment. God bless, happy viewing, and have a nice day.